Welcome back to Rare Gameroom Gaming, where we dive deep into the history of classic original Nintendo and Super Nintendo titles. Today we're heading down south into the swamps with a game that's as tough as Gatorhide, The Adventures of Bayou Billy for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, before we start, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future gaming history videos. And don't forget to comment below your memories with this title and let us know what games you'd like us to cover next. Released on the original Nintendo in 1989 by Konami, The Adventures of Bayou Billy is actually a westernized version of a Japanese Famicom game called Mad City. While the games are essentially the same, there were some big differences. In Japan, Mad City was easier, with more forgiving enemy, AI, higher drop rates for health, and less punishing mechanics. When it came to North America, Konami decided to crank up the difficulty, following a trend of making original Nintendo games harder for Western players. This was partly to extend playtime, and make games feel longer since rental shops were booming at the time.
Get real. You'd rather be playing video games. You can rent them from Blockbuster. They've got more of the coolest new Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis games for rent than anyone in the world.
Konami, of course, needs no introduction. They're the masterminds behind Castlevania, Contra, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and countless arcade hits. But here's something that many people don't know. The director behind Mad City had previously worked on Konami's beat-em-up and arcade shooter divisions. The game was clearly designed to showcase multiple genres in one title, blending side-scrolling brawling, light gun shooting, and even driving stages. In many ways, Bayou Billy was like Konami's experiment to see how much variety they could cram into a single original Nintendo cartridge. One of the unique things about Bayou Billy is that it wasn't just one type of game, it was 3 games in one. You had the classic beat-em-up brawler section similar to Double Dragon, you had driving sequences reminiscent of Spy Hunter, and you had shooting gallery stages that worked with the original Nintendo Zapper, similar to Duck Hunt or Hogan's Alley. The problem, though, was balance. Many players remember the beat-em-up sections being brutally difficult, while the driving parts felt a little stiff. But the ambition of the game is undeniable. It was one of the first original Nintendo games to try to mash up genres like this. If you compare it to more recent games, you could say Bayou Billy was ahead of its time. Modern titles like Grand Theft Auto or Yakuza combine driving, fighting, and shooting into one experience. While those are far more refined, the DNA of those multi-genre experiments can be traced back to games like Bayou Billy.
Where'd you get your hands on Konami's new video game? Starring me, that Ray Junkeito, Bayou Billy. For the first time ever, Konami combines hand-to-hand combat with driving and shooting, and of course zapping. In one swamp-stomping adventure.
The Adventures of Bayou Billy for Nintendo.
It all starts when I get out this here swamp. You really get me riled now.
Now, here's where things get interesting. Unlike many Konami titles of the era, The Adventures of Bayou Billy never actually got a traditional arcade release. However, it did share DNA with arcade brawlers like Crime Fighters and Bad Dudes.
Got it.
Mad City stayed a Famicom exclusive in Japan, while Bayou Billy was exclusive to the NES internationally. That means there was never a Sega Genesis version or official arcade counterpart, which surprises some fans since Konami was known for porting their games widely. There were, however, rumors in the late 80s and early 90s that Sega was interested in licensing a swamp-themed brawler, but nothing materialized. So, the NES remains the definitive home of Bayou Billy. As for sales, Bayou Billy was not the blockbuster Konami hoped for. It sold moderately well in North America, thanks to its flashy cover art and Konami's brand recognition. But it didn't reach the numbers of Contra, or Castlevania. Many rental stores carried it, though, and that's where a lot of gamers first experienced its infamous difficulty. In Japan, Mad City performed better proportionally, mainly because the difficulty was fairer and word of mouth was more positive. Something many people don't realize is that The Adventures of Bayou Billy actually had a tie-in with Archie Comics. Between 1989 and 1991, Konami licensed Bayou Billy to appear in Archie's Nintendo Comics system. This short-lived comic series included stories featuring Billy West, the game's hero, taking on swamp crooks and gator-filled adventures. It gave Bayou Billy more of a personality than the game itself ever did. There were even plans for an animated cartoon, though it never made it past the concept phase. Still, this shows how much Konami was trying to push Bayou Billy as a potential franchise. Unfortunately, the mixed reception of the game meant the character never became the household name Konami hoped for. Now, was Bayou Billy part of a bigger series? Technically, yes. The original Mad City is the core game, and Bayou Billy was its international counterpart. However, there was never a true sequel. Fans have often speculated what a Super Nintendo version could have looked like, perhaps mixing Mode 7 driving sequences with smoother brawler gameplay. But Konami shifted their focus to other franchises, and Bayou Billy was left behind. Still, Bayou Billy has popped up in cameos over the years. He's referenced in Konami's YY World 2 on the Famicom, a crossover game that featured multiple Konami heroes. This is one of the rare nods to the character outside of his original release. If we look at similar games, Bayou Billy can be compared to Double Dragon and Final Fight in terms of its beat-em-up mechanics. For driving, it feels a lot like Road Blasters, and for shooting stages, it's right in line with Zapper titles of the time. The difference, though, is that all those games usually specialized in one genre. Bayou Billy tried to do it all, and while it wasn't perfect, it deserves credit for being ambitious. The Adventures of Bayou Billy may not have been the most successful original Nintendo game, but it left a unique mark in gaming history. It's remembered for its brutal difficult, its genre-blending gameplay, and its attempt to turn Billy West into a cross-media action hero. And while it never got a proper sequel, it remains a fascinating part of Konami's late 80s lineup. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. It really helps the channel grow. Comment below with your memories of The Adventures of Bayou Billy. Did you rent it back in the day? Did you manage to beat it? And let us know what game you'd like to see us cover next. Click one of the videos on screen to continue your gaming history journey. And as always, thank you for watching Rare Gameroom Gaming.